So, welcome students for the chemistry paper number 5, physical chemistry. And already we have finished our first topic, that is the electrolytic conductivity. And in that chapter we have studied the what is electrolytic conductivity, what are the types of conductors, then what is specific conductance, equivalent conductance, molar conductance, then the Colash law, then applications of Colash law, and the conductometric titrations. And again you have studied the migration of ions and determination of transport number by moving boundary method and the Hitop's method. Again, we have seen some problems based on the formulas involved in the chapter. Let us begin with the second chapter, and as already I have given you the subpoints of the second unit, and the name of that second unit, physical properties of liquids. As already I have explained to you, the matter exists in three states, as solids, liquids and gases, and due to the extent of van der Waals forces in solids, liquids and gases, they shows some differences in the properties of solids, liquids and gases. And in this chapter we are studying some physical properties of the liquids. Here the liquids, they have a definite volume but not the definite shape. That means the liquids have some freedom of the gaseous state and some properties of the solids. That means the liquids, they have intermediate properties of gases and solids. Again, in the introduction here, the physical properties of liquid are those which could be studied and determined without causing any chemical change in it. Physical properties are studied and determined without causing any kind of chemical change in it. Then physical properties of substance depend upon the intermolecular forces which originate in the internal structure of the molecule. And for example, here surface tension, it is one of the physical property. Viscosity, it is the second physical property. Then refractive index, it is the third physical property. And in addition to this, the paracore, it is also one physical property. Here the physical properties are classified into four classes, and that four classes are: first class, it is the additive properties. Here the additive properties of the substance, that depends on some of corresponding properties of the constituents, and these properties are called as additive properties. As the properties name, that means additive, addition of the properties of all the constituent atoms means the additive properties. And for example, here mass, molecular weight, molecular heat, dipole moment, radioactivity. These are the some examples of additive properties. Then the second type of physical properties, it is constitutive properties, and the constitutive properties which mainly depend on the spatial arrangement of constituents and to a smaller extent on their number and nature, and these properties are called as constitutive property. In short, the constitutive property that depends on the constitution or the spatial arrangement of constituents in the compound. And for example, optical activity, surface tension, viscosity, etc. These are the constitutive properties. Then the third class of physical property, it is additive and constitutive properties. And additive property which depend on intermolecular structure is called additive and constitutive property. That means the additive nature, it changes due to constitution of the constituents present in the compound, and such properties are called as additive and constitutive properties. For example, the additive and constitutive properties para-core, surface tension, viscosity, molecular refractivity, atomic volume. These are the few examples of additive and constitutive properties. And the last class of physical properties, it is the colligative properties, and the colligative properties, they mainly depends on the number of ions present in the solution or number of particles in the solution and not on their nature. That properties are called as colligative properties. And I mean, you are studied these colligative properties in the uh, your 12th standard. Here, remember, colligative properties, they depends only on the number of particles present in the solution. As the number of particles in the solution increases, the value of colligative property also increases, and as the number of particles in the solution decreases, the value of the colligative property, it also decreases. And for example, the lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and freezing point depression. All these are the colligative properties. We see one by one here. Then for your study, there is a first physical property, and that physical property, it is the surface tension. Here all of you know, when we have any liquid in a any uh, mm, any beaker, burette, the upper surface of the liquid, which seems it is under tension, and that that property, it is the surface tension. Here, the surface tension property arises from the intermolecular forces of attraction, and when there are imbalanced intermolecular forces on the molecules, then the surface tension property arises. Here, consider this is a beaker, and in this beaker we have taken this is certain liquid, and if we consider this is a molecule, it is in the bulk of the liquid, and as shown in this diagram, this A molecule of liquid, it gets surrounded by other molecules in all possible directions. So the resultant force on this A molecule, it is 0. That means there is no any kind of resultant force on this A molecule, and similar is true in case of all the liquid molecules they are present in the bulk of the liquid. And if we consider a second molecule, suppose this is our B molecule, and this B molecule, it is very near to the surface of the liquid, and as shown in this diagram here, this B molecule, it gets pulled inward by the other molecules they are present in the bulk of this liquid. That means here from upper side there are no liquid molecules to pull this molecule in the upward direction. So this molecule, it does not have a this molecule, it is under tension. The resultant force on the attraction on this B molecule, it is not zero. That means there arises a certain force of inward force on this B molecule, and similar is true in case of all molecules they are present at the surface of the liquid. That means each and every molecule which is present at the surface of the liquid, it is dragged down by the other molecules inside the liquid, and this is the reason for the surface tension, that is the physical property. Here attractive forces are unbalanced on the surface molecules, and when that liquid molecule is in the bulk, there is a resultant force of attraction, that means attractive forces are balanced, and this diagram it is explained here. Again, I will read it. Surface tension, this property arises from the intermolecular force of attraction. Consider a molecule A in the bulk of the liquid, which is attracted equally in all directions by neighboring molecules. And consider molecule B on the surface of liquid, which is attracted downward by neighboring molecules. Thus, there is a tendency of a surface molecule to go into bulk of the liquid. Thus, the liquid surface is under tension and tends to reduce to a minimum. This inward attraction gives rise a force in a plane of surface called as surface tension. Then we define the surface tension as, here, the force in a dynes acting along the surface of a liquid at a right angle to any line 1 centimeter in length. I will repeat the definition here. As we have seen in the above diagram that all the surface molecules they are under certain tension. That means they are pulled inside the liquid. So we can define the surface tension as the force in dynes acting along the surface of liquid at a right angle to any line 1 centimeter in length, and the SI unit of surface tension, here it is Newton per meter or joules per meter square, and the CGS unit of surface tension, here it is dyne per centimeter or ergs per centimeter. This is the first property, that is the surface tension. Then we see in a short the second property here, viscosity. And the viscosity, it is a physical property. This property, it is related with the flow of liquid. And The property of liquid which determine the rate of flow of liquid is called as viscosity of the liquid. And for that purpose, consider this is a diagram. Here we have, this is a stationary surface. This one is a stationary surface. This diagram shows the motion of liquid layers on a glass plate. Suppose this is a glass plate and this is the first liquid molecular layer. Layers of molecules of the liquid on glass plate. Suppose this is the first liquid layer, second, third and fourth. And as these layers, they are shown by this arrow. That means the first layer of liquid molecules, it moves on the glass plate up to this distance only, because of there is a friction in between the glass surface and the first layer of liquid molecules. Then as the friction minimizes, the second liquid layer, it moves faster than the first. Again, this is the third liquid molecular layer. Again, this moves faster. Again, the fourth liquid molecular layer. That means as we go away from the stationary surface, the friction between the glass surface and liquid molecular layers, it decreases, and due to this the velocity of liquid molecular layers, it goes on increasing. This is shown in this diagram here, and it is explained here. Let us examine a liquid flowing on a glass surface. The molecular layer in contact with the stationary surface has a zero velocity. The successive layers above it move with increasingly higher velocities in the direction of the flow. Then now consider two adjacent moving layers of a liquid. Let these be separated by a distance x. Here x, it is equal to distance between two layers, and phi, it is a velocity difference between two layers, and let F, it is the force of friction. Then here F, it is directly proportional to the distance between two layers divided by the velocity, and we can write this equation as F, it is equal to neta into x by phi. That means x, it is the distance between two layers, and phi, it is a velocity, and this neta, that is the coefficient of viscosity, it is the proportionality constant. Here eta is known as coefficient of viscosity, and it is defined as the force of resistance per unit area required to maintain unit velocity difference between two layers of a liquid which are at unit distance from each other. And here the CGS unit of viscosity, or a coefficient of viscosity, it is the poise, and denoted by P, or centipoise means 10 raised to minus 2, and millipoise means 10 raised to minus 3, or dynes per centimeter square. And the SI unit of coefficient of viscosity, it is equal to Newton per meter square into second, or here Pascal into second, or kilogram per meter into second. And remember that 1 poise, it is equal to 1 gram per centimeter per second, and it is equal to 1 gram 0.1 kg per meter per second. Then the reciprocal of coefficient of viscosity is called fluidity, denoted by letter phi, and phi it is equal to 1 by neta. Here the fluidity is a measure of the ease with which a liquid can flow, and viscosity of a liquid decreases with increase in temperature. Remember, the viscosity of liquid decreases with increase in temperature. Then the determination of viscosity by Ostwald's viscometer. Here the coefficient of viscosity of liquid can be determined with the help of Pauli's equation, and the Pauli's equation it is this: neta it is equal to P pi r raised to 4 into T divided by 8 VL, where neta it is the coefficient of viscosity, P it is the pressure, pi it is the constant, r it is the radius, and T it is the time flow, phi it is the volume, and L it is the length of the capillary. Here the coefficient of viscosity of a liquid determined with the help of Pauli's equation. Here phi it is the volume of liquid flowing through capillary in a time t, and P it is a applied pressure, R it is a radius of the capillary, and L it is the length of the capillary. The experimental measurement of P, R, L and phi offers considerably difficult. Hence, it is difficult to find the absolute coefficient of viscosity neta from Pauli's equation. Thus, the viscosity of a liquid is determined with respect to that of water by Ostwald's viscometer, and the construction of Ostwald's viscometer it is shown in this diagram. This diagram clearly shows that Ostwald's viscometer it is a U-shaped glass tube, hollow glass tube, and this U-shaped glass tube it is provided with a glass bulb. One glass bulb is situated at the bottom of the U-shaped glass tube, and the one bulb it is situated at the upper side of the U-shaped glass tube, and one arm of the U-shaped glass tube it is quite broad, and the another arm of the U-shaped glass tube it is narrow, and the this these two glass bulbs are connected by means of this capillary, and here at the top there is a one marking for the narrow arm, and at the base of this bulb there is another marking, and the liquid under study it is taken through this arm in this bulb, and this viscometer is clamped to the stand, and here this narrow arm of the viscometer it is connected with the rubber tubing, and the liquid under study it is sucked above this upper mark of the viscometer, and the time flow required for the motion of the liquid from this A point to B point it is measured, and the height of the liquid column here it is the liquid in this glass bulb, this is the lower side, and the upper side here it is the liquid in the upper glass bulb. This is the height it is measured. Then here the Ostwald's viscometer's construction. It consists of U-shaped glass tube having two bulbs. The left hand arm is essentially a capillary with two calibration marks A and B below and above the bulb. The right hand arm is a wide and has a bulb C at the base. Then the experimental procedure. A definite volume of a liquid under examination is poured into the glass bulb C of this viscometer. This liquid is sucked through the left arm slightly above the mark A, as already I have explained. The liquid is then allowed to flow back, and the time of flow of a liquid from A to B is noted. Then the apparatus is cleaned and the process is repeated for second liquid. Then water whose viscosity is known and the calculations are made. Here it is observed that the pressure P depends on the first factor here H, that means height of liquid level in the two arm. Then second, density of the liquid, and the third factor here it is acceleration due to gravity. Then in the Pauli's equation, if all these are constant factors, that means H, density, and G, that is the acceleration due to gravitation. Here we can write this equation for the first liquid. That means neta 1 it is equal to Hg pi r raised to 4 upon 8 Pl into density of liquid 1 into time flow of liquid 2. And for second liquid we can write here as neta 2 it is equal to Hg pi into r raised to 4 upon 8 Pl into d2 into t2, where d2 it is the density of the second liquid and t2 it is the time flow of the second liquid. And taking the ratio of above two equations we get here neta 1 by neta 2 it is equal to d1 t1 upon d2 t2. When neta 2 is known and by measuring densities and time of flow of the liquid, uh, that is neta 1 of the first liquid can be calculated. And advantages of the Ostwald's viscometer for determination of viscosity of the liquids. Here it is very convenient for determination of viscosity, and viscosity at a different temperature can be determined as viscometer can be easily suspended in a thermostat. Remember, viscosity it depends on temperature. As temperature increases, viscosity decreases. And all of you know some examples of liquids having high viscosity. For example, honey, coal tar. These are the viscous liquids. Glycerine. That means when we pour such a viscous liquids on the glass surface, then their flow of motion it is less one, and these liquids are called as non-mobile liquids. And the mobile liquids whose viscosity is less, that means for example water, alcohols, they are not a viscous liquids but mobile liquids. And for the next lecture we can see the next property. Thank you. Study well, and if you have any kind of problem in understanding, ask me frankly. Thank you.